Okay, so Gemini on Google Docs just got a massive upgrade, and I gotta say, some of the new features that it brought really blurs the line between Google Docs, Gemini Chat, and even Google Anti-Gravity, which I'll talk about later. But basically, there are some really cool AI features that now we got on Google Docs, and I believe at least one of them you will find it to be extremely helpful. So in this video, I'm going to show you some really cool features of the Gemini AI upgrade on Google Docs. Okay, so before you can start utilizing or using this feature to create a document, you must at least subscribe to the paid version of Gemini, like Gemini AI, Google AI Pro or Google AI Ultra plan, and maybe you can use the education or business version of it. But if you're not ready for a subscription like that, then you can actually still enjoy Gemini on Google Docs without paying anything. And that is by joining a program called Google Workspace Labs program. You can navigate to this URL, and don't worry, I'm going to just put this full URL in the description down below. And after that, you might be logged in with your Google account and just follow the instruction on the screen. And after that, you should be able to enjoy various really cool AI features in Google products like Google Docs, Gmail, Google Drive, Google Slides, etc. Okay, so after that, you can open Google Docs and start using this new upgrade on the platform. I'm going to create a brand new document, and let me just tackle this new upgrade one by one. So this is an empty Google Docs document. Now, normally, if you want to access Gemini, it will be on the right side of the screen. Now, you can still access that. There's still the Gemini sidebar on the right side of the screen. But I think Google just offered a different way or a different place to access Gemini. And that is by just putting something here, chatting AI via this section at the bottom section of the screen. So you can chat AI. You can also see that there are a few suggestions like a matched document format, and that's one feature that we will explore later. There is also templates. There is also other interactive content that you can insert, like meeting notes, email draft, and some other things perhaps, but I think these are not exactly AI related, and also I believe that it will be changed in the future because these are just some recommendations or suggestions that you can do. But anyway, let's just focus on the AI features. So right here, let's say I want to generate a document. Okay, now when it comes to the resources that AI can use, you have plenty of options. If you click this plus button, you can select the source of the document that will be created. It could be from your Google Drive account. It could also be from your Gmail, your Google Chat, I believe. I don't think this is Gemini Chat. This is probably and most likely Google Chat, and even Google Web Search, which I think is really cool. So previously, when I want to create a document draft, I usually have to use like ChatGPT or Perplexity to do some research, but now we can do the research directly in Google Docs. It's insanely handy. Okay, now let's say here for this quick demo, I want to create a document and I want AI to get the latest info. Can you tell me the latest updates of XAI? Okay, so that's going to be my prompt, and send the message. So it is able to search content on the internet, and it's no surprise given that Google is literally the biggest search engine company in the world. So there's no reason that Gemini couldn't access content on the internet. And there you go. It is actually way faster than I expected. In just a few seconds, it is able to generate the full document based on the content on the internet. And when it comes to the accuracy, I would say this is going to be a lot more reliable, because you can always see what content that were used by AI to synthesize this information. So that's really nice. But that Gemini feature is not only useful when you are creating a brand new document, you can also just edit the document using AI. And this is where the Gemini feature on Google Docs is becoming to feel like a vibe coding experience. Let me give you one example. So let's say I think this document has too much of bullet points, so perhaps I want to replace this with just a regular paragraph. I can just select it, or it is also possible to just tell AI about the part of the document that you want AI to modify. But in this case, I'll just select it manually, and I can click refine, and that section will be selected. And there are plenty of things that I can do, like you can match writing style, and this is another feature that we will talk later. And there's also rephrase. If you want to rephrase it in a different way, then you can use that. And there is also an option to choose other things like shortening, elaborate, make it more formal. You can summarize it, and there are other things, of course. And you can just make a custom request. For example, I don't want that in a bullet point format. I want you to change that into a simple paragraph. Okay, just send that query and just wait. It might only take like several seconds because it is just reading content. It is not like reading, it's not like it's researching the internet. But there you go. So we got this. It doesn't really change anything. It's just remove the bullet points. Now, I was expecting it to be just a single paragraph, but well, at least it is no longer a bullet point. So this is very similar to anti-gravity, to a typical coding tool, because you have the option to accept or reject the changes from AI. Now, there is an option for accept all, and it will be accepted automatically, all of them. But you can also just select which one that you want to accept or reject. You can perhaps accept this, but you don't want to accept the other ones. Like, it is possible. So you are very much in control. And I do really like this approach, because now AI, it will do a lot of work, but at the end of the day, you still in control. You can decide which part of the content from AI that you want to use and which one that you want to prune. So this is a great AI plus human implementation. I really like it. Now, let's talk about the other things that you can do. So let me just go back to that empty document. Okay, so by the way, you can still always access Gemini via the sidebar, and actually there is one benefit of using the Gemini on sidebar. Like, let me give you one example. So on that document, on this document about XAI, if you open the sidebar, the Gemini sidebar, you can see the history of the chat. Again, it's very similar to a Google anti-gravity tool. It's just, you can see the history, and maybe you can look back on what have changed on that document. So that's that's the reason why perhaps they still have this sidebar. But anyway, let me just move on and let's talk about other features. I'm going to close this, and here there is a menu called Tools, and you can choose to match the style of the document from a different document. And there is also the option to match the look of the document from a different document. So one talks about the style, the writing style, and the other one talks about the look or the format of the document. So one example is this one. This is an article that was created by Gemini. It is about Artemis 2 mission. And if you look closely, actually you don't have to look closely, but the document is kind of off because this is not a normal format. That's because I intentionally asked AI to generate the document, but using this resume format. That's why it just doesn't make any sense, because it is not the format that is intended for an article like this. That's why it's strange, but that just shows you how powerful AI is at mimicking a particular format or style from a completely different document. So that's one example. Now here, I will try to use this feature called a match writing style. So I'm going to select a document from my Google Drive account, and there is a document where basically it is just roasting OpenAI. It was maybe, okay, this one. So this is the document. I'm going to add it. And okay, match writing style. Gemini will use the tone, style, and structure of your selected document to generate new text. Okay, I'm going to confirm. But this is really cool, because usually when you are trying to generate content or a draft document using AI, it's very difficult to force it to match your writing style. But now if you have drafts that you were created earlier, you can use them to let AI to generate the content based on your particular style. It's really amazing. Now, regarding whether or not it can be detected as AI content, that's a different story, but basically it should be able to closely mimic your particular writing style. Okay, so in case you're wondering, that document is literally using slang languages. It's using some terms that people use on the internet. That's why it's just kind of off, but I want Gemini to emulate that particular style. So in this case, I want to ask AI to generate a report of the state of renewable energy in the USA. Okay, I'm going to enable the web search capability and let's send the message. Okay, now while it is still generating the content, there is one feature that I think it's quite useful to have. So let me just go to this document. This is a different document, of course. So normally, if you want to summarize the content, you have to copy the content and then you have to paste it into Gemini or ChatGPT and then ask AI to summarize it, and then you can put that right here, maybe at the top of the document. But it's actually no longer necessary, because if you navigate to the insert menu and then navigate to building blocks, there is a feature called AI summary, and it's able to summarize your content, so you don't have to send a prompt. It's just a summary based on your own content. So this is really cool, although one limitation is you don't have the option to modify the prompt. So this is the format that's kind of not really a summary. It's kind of very long. So I wish that we have a much finer control at the AI summary feature on Google Docs. But yeah, that's basically just one more feature that I suppose you can use. But anyway, let me just go back to that document and we got this. So yeah, let me see. Okay, yeah, it's definitely it is definitely not the language that is professional, because again, it is using some slangs, like it's using the word like while solar and wind are technically carrying the growth. That's not a very formal language. And also there is mentioned like tech bros. That's a language that people use on social media, not on a formal document. But yeah, basically it is able to match the style of this document. It's really amazing. I mean, if you are a student and then you want to create an essay but you're kind of lazy, then you can just use your old essay to be fed to AI, and then it can generate a new one. Now, I'm not telling you to do that, but basically it's just one possibility that could be possible when we have this feature on Gemini. But I'm hoping that you're using this feature responsibly. But anyway, that's basically all the things that I suppose you can do with this feature. And by the way, if you don't like this widget at the bottom section of the screen, there is the option to hide it. Yeah, you can navigate to Gemini, and then on the bottom bar preferences you can turn it off. But Gemini is still available on the right sidebar in case you want to access some AI features, although here it's kind of a bit limited. But yeah, that's basically it. And if you want to see more really cool AI features and techniques that you can try, then go ahead, check out this video up here, and I'll see you on that video.